Greetings everyone, the man behind the anime girl here. Today I'm going to talk about my former channel, and to anyone wondering why I'm talking over Chrono Trigger footage, aside from me replaying it at the moment, it is relevant to the topic at hand in a few ways. One being that the goofy villain in it named Ozzy was an inspiration for my original internet name, dating all the way back to the 90s on AOL. But my old YouTube channel was created around 2009 or 2010, can't remember precisely since the channel no longer exists to look at it. I also, at first, was much more reliant on Blip TV, which was a website that made heavy use of embedding videos on other websites and still being able to run ads on them. I was associated with a group of people that were mostly inspired by Channel Awesome, even though I personally didn't care about the Nostalgia Critic that much. I was at one point the leader of a website called Reviewers Unknown, but it was never successful. Most of the contributors didn't really help encourage people to go there because they were too busy fanboying over Channel Awesome, even though they weren't personally part of it. I used to perform a weird character where I was a top hat wearing magician for the camera, but I've never been really good at being in front of the camera. I did various reviews of anime, cartoons, movies, and video games, but my one video that was really successful was a review of Dragon Ball GT. This was made years before the movie with Beerus revived the IP all of a sudden, so there wasn't a ton of other people making Dragon Ball videos at the time. So when I made a negative video about Dragon Ball GT, it got 500,000 views. Ironically, Dragon Ball GT is like Chrono Trigger, based on Akira Toriyama's art style. And getting as many views on it as I did made it so a multi-channel network called Fullscreen offered to sign me on as a partner. Positive of doing this is every video I put out was automatically monetized. The bad thing is, everything else they promised, such as promoting my channel, were all lies. So I didn't have to see if YouTube would monetize a video, but I had to share my ad revenue with a company that didn't do jack shit that it said it was going to do. And the worst thing is, when my contract expired after 2 years, I tried to get out of partnering with them. They renewed the contract without my permission. And the way YouTube was set up at the time, an MCN automatically had full control of your channel, so to get out, I would have to have been able to afford a lawyer. Shortly after this mess, suddenly Toei Animation Content ID'd my video of Dragon Ball GT, bringing it down. They had done this previously and released the claim when I pointed out it was a review, so I found it bizarre that they can do the same claim again after previously letting it go, especially since the video should have been covered by fair use. But considering it had 500,000 views and the rest of my videos mostly didn't even have 1,000, I deleted my channel to get away from Fullscreen. Wish I had realized a couple years later they would go out of business, but had no idea about that at the time. That it seems every multi-channel network was bought by a corporation that would invest in YouTube and later seemed to decide it was too much trouble. I briefly tried to make a separate channel, but then YouTube got hit with that ordeal with COPPA, which at the time seemed like it would be more trouble than it is, and in my opinion, YouTube isn't even following that law correctly, because it requires them to not data collect on children. But it is only chosen to not data collect on videos that are labeled as children's videos instead of children's accounts if they're watching something else. But at the time, it seemed like it would be a nightmare to deal with, so I abandoned that channel, which admittedly only got a little over 100 subscribers, even when I told people on my previous channel about it, and that channel had over 1,000. During this time, my internet identity became Azina Arcane, which was my character I originally made in Dragon Ball Xenoverse. At the time, I had next to no chance that people would hear my voice other than friends I gamed with on my Discord server. During this time, I actually started playing Dungeons & Dragons online with a group of friends a lot, but over time, all our work shifts changed, making it virtually impossible to find a single night we could all play D&D together. That might be what inspired me to come back to YouTube. When I first launched this channel, it was for a podcast that would be reviewing bad movies known as The Outhouse. It was me with a smaller group of friends than I had for D&D, but the problem is, both that eventually we had conflicting schedules and all the podcast episodes had decreasing views after the first couple episodes. But at some point, I randomly re-uploaded a few game reviews from my previous channel and they got a ton of views by comparison. So I shifted back to being a strictly gaming channel, but soon after that had a bunch of real-life issues interfere with me producing content. Had a coworker suffer through a health problem in 2024 that pushed me into a position where I had to work 7 days a week for 6 months. And at the end of 2025, I had some other health issues of my own, including the brain surgery I just had recently that I did a vlog about. So at the moment, those issues combined with current YouTube being unpredictable to what I can do in order to get views, industry topics seem to be too random, so if and when I come back at it, will mainly be review videos. But since I will eventually be back in a full-time job and game reviews kind of require you to record a decent amount of in-game footage, the ones I will make videos on instead of text blog posts will be limited. I can't say for certain when I would be coming back because going through my current recovery is very demotivating. Videos I was going to focus on was Gems of Gaming, which is dedicated to games that I consider special. Also, a line of videos called Finishing the Fantasy, which would involve me playing Final Fantasy games, mostly in order. Lastly, maybe an occasional top 10 list video, but I doubt that because it requires too much work. I'm currently not 100% sure about what's going to happen with these things, especially after putting more than a decade and a half into trying to build a channel on YouTube. In any case, though, happy gaming, everyone. And with that, you've made it to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to do that like, comment, and subscribe thing that everyone's always talking about. Otherwise, Ozina will be angry. You don't want to see Ozina when she's angry.